delegate. I think having a right hand and a left hand is definitely what people need when it comes to their business. So your right hand is someone that can be similar to you, someone that can get what needs to be done without not your approval, but more so without having to ask you if this is right or not.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that can think like you, someone that can provide in your footsteps without you having to be there. And then having the left hand, which is all the work that you don't want to do. Honestly, because we're keeping it honest here on this podcast, I am not a numbers girl. I'm not a
Yes.
finance girl. I don't really care about none of that. I'm just trying to get on set. So like having that left hand for someone to like, hey, all right, this is the budget. This is what we're
Mm-hmm.
working with. This is where the wiggle room is. This is what we can offset. Someone that does all the things that you're not good at. I think one thing that business owners, the mistake that they do make is taking on the work that they don't want to do. That's going to bring you animosity. It's going to bring you anxiety because again, like I don't care about the Excel spreadsheet. I don't.
Yeah.
So that having that left hand that allows you to do all the things that you want to do, and someone that you trust can do all the things that you don't want to do. That's what you're going to really need to like start your first business, so you feel secure in it of it enough, so you can start your next one.
You're listening to the Black to Business Podcast, an educational podcast providing Black entrepreneurs with the tools and resources to start and grow their businesses. We chat with vetted Black entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and business owners as they provide tips and resources to help take your business to the next level. I'm your host, Monique T. Marshall. Hey there, and welcome to the Black to Business Podcast. I am your host, Monique T. Marshall. So one thing I know is being multi-passionate can feel empowering, but when you are growing a business or even two, it can start to feel like you're being pulled in every direction. You're trying to show up fully, keep your vision moving, and protect your peace in a world that just keeps telling you, pick one thing. And that pressure to choose just one path can make you question your timing, your capacity, and sometimes even your calling. So if you've ever felt torn between your passions and your well-being, we totally get it. That's why this week's conversation is right on time. I'm joined by Cristina Jerome, a creative strategist and founder of Off Worque, which is a nonprofit focused on helping people create healthier relationships with work. Cristina knows exactly what it's like to lead more than one venture while staying grounded and intentional. From shaping digital strategies for names like Normani, Red Table Talk, and Adidas, to now building a business rooted in mental wellness, she brings a unique and also powerful perspective to this conversation. And we're talking about building systems that support your growth, managing your time with purpose, and giving yourself the freedom to pause when you need to. So if you're trying to figure out how to make space for all the things you love while also still taking care of yourself, this episode is for you. So let's get into it. Cristina, welcome to the Black to Business Podcast. I am thrilled to have you here. I am so excited about the topic we're going to discuss today. So thank you again for showing up.
No, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I love being Black in business, so this is like the perfect opportunity.
Yes, I love that. Starting off strong already. So, we were chatting a little bit before, but I would love it if you could start by, before we get into today's topic of how to manage and take time for yourself while managing a business or two, I would love it if you could start by telling us a little bit about who you are, what is it that you do in your business, and how did you get where you are today?
Of course. So, hi everyone that's listening. I'm Cristina Jerome. I'm a DMV based creative. I'm a creative strategist. I work in social media marketing, which I have my agency called Work. And then within the nonprofit space, I have a space called Off Worque, where I'm teaching people to have work life balance, find themselves outside of work, and just have a little bit more free time and identity through time management. I feel like a lot of us are very deep into our bags and we love working, we love money, we love all of these things. But I want to just make sure that people also have the time, energy, just identity outside of the workplace. So I'm doing a bit of both on the opposite sides of the end. And I just love that people are taking the time to do both, as we should.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's what was so intriguing about the work that you are doing is because you are doing both and you're doing both so well. And
Thank
in
you.
today, you're so welcome. In today's society, it's taught like, okay, you got to focus on one thing. But you
Mm-hmm.
know where we are today, and I think it's hard for people to focus on one thing, and you can balance both. So for you, you are able to do that. And I want to talk about that today. So let's start with the balancing part of things. So
Mhm.
Christina, what does it mean to successfully balance two things at once?
Whew. Well, first of all, balancing is not easy. I just want to put that out
Hmm.
there. I think that people are thinking like, oh, like it's good to have like this work-life balance. It's good to have balance in life. It's just not easy. There's always an opportunity for you to lean more towards what your family and friends want to do, to a romantic partner, to what you want to do, to what your work like wants to do. But balance honestly just means having synergy throughout everything that you're doing, and you're able to feel good and put your best effort towards those things and not feel like you're being pulled in one direction or the other. For me, balance just feels like calm. It's peace. It's my like ground zero of feeling like, all right, I am at ease. I'm at peace. I'm able to put myself into this and have the energy to do it versus someone that can be a bit unbalanced, coming like feeling stressed coming into something. Or maybe you have like the Sunday scaries on Sunday night before going into work. So that would be a little bit signs of unbalance. But balance for me is just like, being ready, being present, and excited to take on everything that I have on my plate.
Yeah, I love that. It's like peace, good.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in that, when you're thinking about that, what would you say is the most important factor when it comes to handling those many different things at the same time?
It's honestly rest. It's knowing when to stop. And I think that everyone thinks that they're really good at time management. And I realize that we're not the best at our time. We're not maximizing our days the best that we could. But I think one thing that we aren't just holding ourselves accountable for is having enough rest. So knowing when you're stopping. If you clock out at 5 o'clock every day, then you need to make sure that you are clocking out or wrapping up or figuring out, all right, let me wind down at 4:30, 4:45, so I'm not having a hard stop at 5:01 and it's feeling weird. So it's rest. It's actually sleeping. It's actually having a nighttime routine, a morning routine. For myself, like I'm someone that likes to make breakfast. So I get up, I go to the gym, I do my things, but you're not going to stop me from making my breakfast. I do it every morning. So for me, it's like I need to be well rested enough to be able to get up and do those things that I want to do for myself. So it's rest. We have rest and don't feel guilty for it.
I was over here, amen, corner, because that is one thing I also can relate to. I have to have my breakfast. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like if I don't have my breakfast, it's not a good day. So I love
Mm-hmm.
that you say that. And then the rest part, because for entrepreneurs, it's like rest win.
Right.
and I love that you lead with that. And now I want to get into some specifics. So as someone who is managing two thriving business, what position do you need to be in financially, mentally, and otherwise to be able to start a second business?
I'm gonna be so honest with y'all. Is
Okay.
that okay? Okay,
Yes,
okay, okay.
please.
Okay. I think the financial part is what people are not talking about often. If you look through my resume, there are times where I bounce between having a 9 to 5 full-time job and I'm having a freelance moment, which is totally fine. That doesn't make you a failure if you are someone that owns a business and you need to go back to a 9 to 5 job. It offers the security you need to fund that. So for me, I like to take 4 to 6 months out of the year to actually work a 9 to 5 job because that money does help me finance my business. It does help me leverage that business. So for myself, I'll take a full time job. I'm asking for the salary I need to make. And I'm able to take that money to build into my business. So, say I need a website being built, I need tools, I need to interview someone to be a coordinator. Like that is what provides the monetary structure I need to run the business. And then when it comes to freelancing, I'm able to start at a 100% profit rate where I'm not like waiting on the client to pay me to do XYZ, or the money is already there and I'm able to make more money by outreaching to clients and getting the work done. So I think that putting yourself in a position financially for yourself to be able to outsource is responsible, and you're not always going to be able to do that when you're first starting out with your business. Like if you run a social media marketing company, you're going to get paid at the end of the month on day 30, 30, 31. Your coordinator or whomever, your graphic designer, whomever that you're helping or bringing on to like help you with this project, they need to get paid. So you're going to feel stressed out. You're going to feel unrested. You're going to feel unbalanced because your business structure in terms of finances is not well. So go ahead, go get yourself a full time job. There's nothing wrong with that. And just use your time management a little bit more accurately to allow the finances to work for themselves. Like you're not making this money for no reason. You're making this money to fulfill the business. So that's what I like to do. It's very untalked about. Like, oh, you're an entrepreneur. Like some people aren't only entrepreneurs. Like in that case, I'm a full time worker. I have my a nonprofit, and then I have my marketing agency. That's 3 jobs right there. But they would not be able to exist without the other one. So like, just don't be afraid of doing that.
Mm, I love that. I heard somebody say if you can't manage a job in a business, you cannot manage a business. And I think that that's where the balance comes in because you're also in business managing multiple things. And I love that you
Mm-hmm.
say, like, keep it real. Having that job to support and learn on the job. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, it's like people think entrepreneurship has to look one way. And that's
Right.
exactly what you're an example of. It's like redefining what it looks like, redefining, okay, I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to be successful at multiple things. So I love that
Mm-hmm.
the realness in sharing that. And in addition to that, so how do you know if you're really ready to take on another venture?
How do you know you're ready? When you feel like that business is serving a specific issue or solving a specific problem. So, like for me, I like to take a step back and actually build the business plan first. You would think I do branding first because like that's what I do for a living. I actually like try to take a step back and figure out, okay, what are the streams of revenue that this company can make? So like let's talk about like Off Worque specifically because it's a nonprofit. We have donations, so that's revenue that comes in. We do events, which is revenue that comes in, and we do consulting, which is revenue that comes in. So for me, you have to decide, okay, these are my 3 revenue points. And then that's like just for now. Eventually, we're also going to be selling digital products. We're going to have physical products. We're going to have like a merch store or whatnot. So it's just like there's all of these revenue streams. Are you able to have one or two going at the same time to fulfill the needs of the business? So then that's what you're looking at your operating costs. Say it takes $100 a month for you to run your business. Are those 2 revenue streams going to be enough for you to fulfill that business? If the answer is yes, go for it. Like really go for it. If the answer is no, take some time to take a step back and figure out what ways. Do you need more time? Do you need more resources? Whatever it is that you need to make those 2 revenue sources make sense. But for me, I like to like start with my business plan and see like, all right, well, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to serve. Will I be able to make ends meet? Because the last thing you want is a failed business. And while it's common, all businesses are not all successful. You can put yourself in a better position by just, meeting your $100 quota every month. And then that's where you scale. You go to $200 and $500 a month, 5K a month. And next thing you know, you have $1 million business. Love this for you.
Christina, the listener is saying, I can do anything. Christina told me I can. And I love that because it's like you make it seem like it doesn't have to be that complicated, which it doesn't. And I like that you say, like, starting with the business plan, starting with the revenue, because that's a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
the mistake that people make. It's like, I have this grand big vision, but where is the money
Mm-hmm.
coming in to sustain that vision? And I love that you
Mm-hmm.
talk about the revenue part first and seeing where is these different things. How are you going to be able to sustain that?
I
So
hear the
what?
opposite though. I'll be honest and say like
Okay,
you don't need to have money, like you need to just like start it. But at the end of the day, a business is a finance venture. If you
right.
want to be creative and you want to be a creator, you can do that. You don't need to start a business to do that. You don't need to start an LLC, an Inc., whatever it is, a corporation. Then that's not a business venture. I think we need to have a hard line between what is a business and financial venture versus what is a creative output. Because for me, like I like making flower bouquets. Like I think it's really cute. I go to Trader Joe's and I make my flower bouquets. Am I going to start a flower business tomorrow? I am not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm
Right.
gonna make a cute little hobby. If someone wants to like buy one, like sure, but like, is this something that I need to go start an LLC for? Absolutely not. So that's another thing. Make sure this is something that you see as a business venture where you're making money. You're able to hire employees, outsource that, rather than something that's a hobby. Because both are okay, but just know the difference.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the things you also mentioned earlier is those resources that people need. So for you and your
Mm-hmm.
journey, what were some of those resources or support that you utilized to help you take that leap into your next business and some of those things that other people can do as well?
It's a lot of tools. I don't think people like to spend money or tools or think about it, but having a good organizational platform, if you want to spend the money, Notion is something that I highly recommend. You're able to get your organization there, breaking things down from protocols to having blank templates there to just having your content calendar there, whatever you need per client. On the free route or the freer route, Google Suite has all of that. I think it's called Workspace at this point, has all of these things as well that you're able to utilize to make your business makes sense. So that's something I invested in, the right tools. Consulting is something that people, I feel like, are afraid to go for. I'm not the first social media marketing agency. I'm not the first nonprofit. So there are people that have done this before. So consulting is something that I like to spend time, energy, and money on and doing. And then also just outsourcing the things that I know that I can do if I had a little bit more help. So for myself, as someone that does campaigns, I can't do every campaign. And I also don't
Right.
want to do every campaign because I love to hear other people's perspectives. I know that you're hiring me from my perspective, but what is the devil's advocate? So
Mm,
hiring someone to do like start a campaign for you, like nothing that's, tangible in terms of creating a deck or like doing social media graphics, but just doing the strategy, hiring someone to do that. And that's not
yeah.
going to cost you $1 million, maybe $500, $1,000. So for someone to write a strategy for you, and you're able to take that and add your own twist to it. So those are the things that I kind of don't mind spending money on for sure.
That's that investment, and also
Hmm.
don't mind letting go,
Yeah.
because that's another thing. Sometimes it can be hard to let go. It's your baby.
Right. Think I like to think often of like nail salons. I think they are one
Hmm.
of the most well ran like businesses in terms of like who's doing what. If you notice, there are some people that only do pedicures. They don't do nothing else. They
Yeah.
only do pedicures. And you got to let them do that. Well, I can do a bomb pedicure. I don't need to do everyone's pedicure. I'm going to let these people do it. There's some people that only do gel X. There's one
Mm,
person in this, there's only one person in the salon, the whole salon that can do designs. And you're waiting on her to do designs on your nails. So it's kind of just like think of like your business as like a nail salon or any type of business that has different moving parts and what you are willing, what's important to you. Like maybe I'm the person that wants to do those designs. So I'm going to take my
right.
time and do the designs. You're not going to catch me doing pedicures. So I don't have time to do the pedicures and the designs. We got to outsource that.
Hmm. That's solid advice. I like that. That is a good model. And
Mm-hmm.
so, speaking of today's topics of managing a business or two, and then also we kind of mentioned it before, I think now it's popular business advice, or at least it has been until probably more recently, to just
Mm-hmm.
focus on one thing in your entrepreneur's pursuit. But you've decided to challenge that notion. So, do you find that this kind of advice is outdated? Is being a multi hyphenate entrepreneur more manageable today than it was in the past, you'd say?
Absolutely. I think even not so much in the past, but even up to 5 years ago, I
Mm-hmm.
have a good friend of mine who I was a jack of all trades, a master of none. I was young. I was like, I can do anything you want me to do. And she's like, no, you need to pick that one thing and you need to be great at it and you need to sell that. While that could
Mm-hmm.
work for some people just don't have it in them to do one thing. Like while I do social media strategy, I love being a creative director. I love being a set designer. I love directing. I love doing all of these things and you can package that into your multi hyphenate. I think that's totally fine. Sometimes, not sometimes, most times, a lot of these businesses also don't know what they need or what entails in it. When it comes to
Mm-hmm.
social media strategy, I usually work with a creative director. So it's just like, you don't even know that you need this, but surprise,
Right.
here I am. I also do this as well. So no, I definitely think that that ideology can be definitely outdated. Again, there are some people that fit in a box and they do their box and they do their box. They do it real well. But some people have multiple boxes, and that's something you should tell as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So now let's get into the mechanics of doing all the things, because we like to break it down on the Black to Business podcast. So structurally, what does a business need in order to be hands off enough to allow you to manage another business as well?
You need a few things. Again, going back to the tools, it really just helps you automate and see like what you have right in front of you. So again, a Notion, a Google Sheet, anything that you can see that has everything written out so you know what needs to be done. Then you need to start to delegate. I think having a right hand and a left hand is definitely what people need when it comes to their business. So your right hand is someone that can be similar to you, someone that can get what needs to be done without not your approval, but more so without having to ask you if this is right or not.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that can think like you, someone that can provide in your footsteps without you having to be there. And then having the left hand, which is all the work that you don't want to do. Honestly, because we're keeping it honest here on this podcast, I am not a numbers girl. I'm not a
Yes.
finance girl. I don't really care about none of that. I'm just trying to get on set, you know? So like having that left hand for someone to like, hey, all right, this is the budget. This is what we're
Mm-hmm.
working with. This is where the wiggle room is. This is what we can offset. Someone that does all the things that you're not good at. I think one thing that business owners, the mistake that they do make is taking on the work that they don't want to do, that's going to bring you animosity. It's going to bring you anxiety because again, like I don't care about the Excel spreadsheet. I don't.
Yeah.
So that having that left hand that allows you to do all the things that you want to do, and someone that you trust can do all the things that you don't want to do. That's what you're going to really need to like start your first business, so you feel secure in it up enough so you can start your next one.
Mm-hmm. That is good. Leaning on those people, and they're the
Mm-hmm.
expert, and they have the time that you're paying them. So why not?
And if you
Uh,
can't pay these people, I think another thing is just like finding like volunteers and interns. I
mm-hmm.
know that these people are maybe not at the same expertise level if you are. Maybe they are. There's a lot of people that kind of just want the experience in doing
Yeah.
something different. Lean on your community, lean on a community, put a word out. There's a lot of Facebook groups that hold creatives. There's a lot of people on LinkedIn that can offer you support as well. So I just don't want you to think that you can't start your second business because you can't pay someone to do something. There's a lot of teachable soft skills that you can offer to your left and your right hand. So build your team, pro paying them, or, if it's a volunteer or a support type of thing, like just make sure you have it. Like, I just don't want you to think like, all right, well, I can't afford a left hand, I
Mm-hmm.
can only afford a right hand. There's somebody out here that's admiring you or someone that just wants that expertise. Go tap into that.
Certainly. And now I would love to talk about the task. So you talk about the structural side of things and even further
Mm-hmm.
into the mechanics. So when you have two businesses, how do you manage the task for both? So that's like resources or any tried and true
Mm-hmm.
methods.
Yes. So my businesses are the opposite of each other, but
Mm-hmm.
they do a lot of the same thing. So content creation is something that happens on both sides. I have to create content for my clients and I have to create content for the brand. I like to segment my day out. So let's say Tuesdays is a content creation day. Mondays are an admin day. Maybe Wednesdays are a review and talk to client type of day. I try to segment myself out and also just make space for maybe these things can't happen. Maybe I have to run an errand, so I have to push my content day back. But I like to segment my time out so I make sure that everything is getting done. And I combine them both. I actually do all of the content creation I need to do for my clients and my nonprofit on the same day because it's a content creation day. I don't have off work content or work content separated. It's just content that needs to be separated. I do understand that maybe your businesses may be completely different and you may not have time to do that. But I think segmenting and blocking out your time efficiently is what makes you allow to have that time for both. So I block it out. Thursdays is actually my content creation day. So Wednesdays I take
Mm-hmm.
my time researching and think, all right, well, this can work for this brand, this can work for my brand, and I start to ideate and get it done.
Mm-hmm. So how do you balance then in that case, like maybe the task switching aspect of it and making sure you're still focused in that moment?
I'm a journaling girl.
Mm-hmm.
This is my my journal. So I take my time, or a planner rather, and I planned out. I'll give you guys like a look at what a blank sheet looks like. So it's just like a weekly reflection on what I didn't get done. So that's what I
Mm-hmm.
do in terms of my tasks. So I'm using the calendar, the weekly overview of like what needs to get done. This is a blank one, by the way, but this is what needs to get done in terms of writing out the tasks, what day it needs to get done, what is important, what are my priorities for the month. So that is how I manage the task aspect of it. And then it's day by day. So again,
Mm-hmm.
like Monday is something I need to get these things done. I make sure that I get them done. Sometimes I don't get them done. It has to roll over, but it doesn't roll over to the next day. It rolls over to the next day that it's assigned. So if I don't get everything shot on Thursdays, it gets shot next Thursday instead of Friday because Friday has another list and task of things for me to do. So that's going to overwork me and overwhelm me on a Friday when that's not even content creation day. It didn't get done. Add it to the list for next week, not the next day.
Oh, that I love that strategy. Noted. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, because you people get. I mean, I'm people. You get overwhelmed, and I will feel and beat myself up about something that I didn't get shot. It's not the end of the world. Life goes on. We're selling beauty products or whatever it is that we're selling online. We're not doing rocket science. So just add it to the task list for next one, but also communicate that to the client. I think that's one thing that
Yeah.
we need to do a little bit better. Like, shot this or didn't get to shoot this. This didn't come out the way that I like. That's my favorite. This didn't come out the way that I like, girl. So I want to reshoot it. I have something for you to look at next week, and it works out for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that communication is key.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Christina, what was an unforeseen aspect of owning two businesses that you encountered?
Oh, it's the taxes. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's really the
Mm-hmm.
taxes. and then like the way things are funded. So with my nonprofit, we get donations. So it's just like dealing. I have an accountant that works with me, but it's just like the donations, the write-offs, all that type of stuff is very different than running an LLC. I think there's a lot of things that you can buy and say like, oh, like I'm writing this off for my business, which is true. Versus with a nonprofit, there's a lot of things that you're tax exempt for that you have to prepare yourself to purchase. Like you can't just go buy a camera and think that it's going to be tax exempt. You have to print out your letter of determination. There's a lot of things that you have to do to make sure your ducks are in a row. So honestly, it's like the taxes, it's the money, it's the finances, all the left brain things that I'm not like really good at. So I would say that would be it. I think again with LLC, it's very straightforward. You make money, you pay taxes on it, versus a nonprofit is a bit different. So that was my big learning curve, and I'm still learning through it. My nonprofit's only a year and a half old, so I'm still like working through it. But that was the thing that I was just like, okay, this is different. Paying taxes versus like being, you know, a 9-to-5 worker, that money is coming out of your paychecks anyway. So it's just like, I don't have to worry about it. Like I'll just file my taxes versus like having the business. I have to not only file my taxes and I have to do my taxes for two different businesses. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good heads up for people. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. And would you say that there are some essential skills, or if so, what are they for a multi-hyphenate entrepreneur? And can you elaborate on why those are so important?
I think it is the soft skills that people don't talk about. It's
Mm-hmm.
like everyone, you know, with that, whatever you are in your field, you're good at it. You're a great graphic designer. You're good at editing. You're good at drawing. You're good at painting. But there's also the soft skills that come into play that I think that really get to excel when you own your own business versus when you're working a 9-to-5. 9-to-5 to me is more about the output and how you're, you know, getting things done versus when you have your own business, it's like how your consumer relations are with your clients. So the
Mm-hmm.
soft skills that I think that make sense the most here is just having like empathy and having communication skills with your client. Again, a lot of these people are hiring you. They don't know why they're hiring you. They don't know what they really need at one point. So it's like, it's really important for me to be patient and kind with these people, and just like show, okay, these are your options. This is what these options cost. These are which ways you're just giving them, you know, a full like hand of cards. I've known that this is how you can play it this way. Communication and
Mm-hmm.
empathy, I would say. Having patience, again, like they're hiring you, you're the expert in whatever it is that you do. So taking time to over explain what it is, like don't be a person that's like, oh, well, you hired me, like you should just let me do it. It's very easy to just explain it. You know, you're not taking your bag away from yourself. There's no one that's me that can do what I do better than what I can. That's why you hired me to do it. Me explaining it to you doesn't take away from that. So that's another thing, is being patient and kind with your clients. And then also just like opening, don't not being afraid to like try things and let people see you do that. I think there's a lot of business secrets that people like try to hide. Like no one's inventing a new business, unfortunately. Like, we're not at the point where
Right.
we're reinventing the wheel. It's like it's not a thing. We're all doing the same thing. Being open and sharing with other founders, other entrepreneurs, other people doing the same things, that can just offer leverage within your business. Again, like you telling me where to find cheap Gel X tips is not going to stop the person from coming in at 4 p.m. So just being communicative and just being, you know, sharing within your field, I think that's something as well.
Mm-hmm. That is solid advice. I agree. And so now we've talked about the aspect of managing a business or two. And this conversation is all about how to take time for yourself in the midst of this process. So I want to now talk
Mm-hmm.
about balancing the work and life. So, as someone who does balance two business in addition to a 9-to-5, how challenging is it to maintain a life outside of work, and how do you do it?
It is. It is challenging. I want to start by saying it is challenging. This is not something that I've mastered. The work-life balance wavers. And sometimes I hit it right in the middle of 50-50. So it definitely is something that is challengeable, but like having things in your schedule that are staples, really work forward to me. So again, I am someone that works out and eats breakfast. So before
Mm-hmm.
10 a.m., that is, I don't want to say I'm unavailable, but I'm unavailable. Like you can't find me. I am doing these things for myself because that's what's going to help me give you 100% as a client or someone that's working with me. So just having those things in your schedule that are staples that you can look forward to. And then also having a morning routine and a night routine. So once I shut my laptop, I stretch at night. So that
Mm-hmm.
is something that I'm looking forward to that helps me balance that. When it comes to like personal life and romantic life and family life, you have to pick and choose and don't be afraid to say no. Like you can't visit everything. I'm here in DC. I have family in Virginia and I have family in Florida. Um, Not everyone's birthday is gonna get celebrated, y'all. Sometimes you're just gonna get that happy birthday and that Zell, and it's gonna be that's what it's gonna be, and that's okay. So just taking that time to kind of just like rotate and realize like, okay, what is important to me at this moment, and how can I still serve other people, like my family members, without overextending myself. So unfortunately, I missed my nephew's third birthday. Sad, sad, sad day. But that day, I believe that I was speaking on a panel, so that was really
Mm-hmm.
important to my, professional career. Love my nephew; he's 3. I don't think he's going to remember that Auntie wasn't there, but that's a priority for me for his fourth birthday, for Christmas,
Right.
for any other random times that I can see him, as school's graduation.
I love that advice, and I think that it's so true because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, sometimes we can struggle with I want to do all the things. No, I'm not giving up my life to just focus on my business, but it's like I think it's a season thing. Like it's a season that you're in, but then it's like okay, just understanding you can't do everything, and that's okay. So I love that you expressed like how you do it and how it works for you. And so, being that one of your businesses, Off Worque, is centered around promoting that work life balance, can you define in your own terms what does work life mean balance mean to you? And I think you kind of gave some examples, but what does it also look like in practice?
Yeah, so work life balance for me is someone that has a well rounded relationship with all of the facets of their life. So, someone that is able to tap into their work when they need to, family, romantic partners, hobbies. Someone is just like completely balanced when it comes to all of these things. For me, it's a rotation. Again, like I have family that I like to visit, I have obligations at work, but for me, it's just to be able to prioritize all of the external things like my hobbies, my romantic partner, my family, along with my work. One is not more important than the other. And I make sure that that is communicated and that it's what shows up in my planner, in my life, and how I structure everything. For other people, I do think that, or the people that we service with Off Worque, I think a lot of these people take work very seriously and they feel as if they don't show up at 100% at their job, then they're less than. And I'm just helping people kind of like unlearn that and realize that there is, structure and balance that they do deserve outside of their work. So, yeah, it's just for me, I just really, really harp on being excited about other things outside of work. Again, having a great campaign, having a successful campaign is extremely exciting, but also going to pottery class is exciting. Going to the yoga class I go to on Tuesday nights is exciting as well. And just finding joy in like all things instead of just one thing.
I love that. Finding joy in all things instead of just one thing. And one of the things you mentioned is like working with your clients to find that balance. When you are working with people, or just for people who are listening, what are some clear signs of, okay, you need to take a break?
Clear signs of needing to take a break. There's so many. I think starting with having Sunday scaries or anxiety on the night before you are clocking into a job. Someone that's just a bit anxious about like checking their emails and making sure that they're replying to everyone even when they're off the clock. Those are a few things that I'm seeing that a lot of people have. People who just have more so anxiety or stress about being perfect at work instead of getting things done. I'm noticing that everyone has a sense of perfection, which I love. Like we all want to be really good at their jobs, but realizing that that's just like not possible. We are not AI. We are human beings. We can only do our best in which we have. So those are a few signs that I see. I think some that people are not really noticing are people who don't get full like nights of sleep. There are a lot of people that are just getting off and doing 5 hours of sleep. That's not okay. Regardless of like how well rested you think you are, like you do need that full 7 to 8 hours of sleep. That's another thing. People who have high screen times. That's another thing that I'm noticing, that there are people that are on 12, 13, 14 hours of screen time a day. So that's another thing that I feel like people are not like paying attention. They think it's normal, which is fine. Like I like to scroll as well, but like learn when to stop.
I agree with that. And I think most people, so you have given a lot of great advice. And I think a lot of times the work that we do, of course, is very personal to us. So was there a personal realization or moment for you that you had and you were like, okay, Christina, you need to take a break?
Oh, where do I start? Where do I start? I think my breaking point was I was working a job where we had the last 2 weeks of the holiday season in December off. So like maybe like the week of Christmas and the week after Christmas, and then we all came back the first week of January. I was in Puerto Rico having a time. I was jumping off cliffs in Puerto Rico. I'm in the beach. I'm eating good food. I'm having a great time. I was willing to miss that flight. I was willing to miss that flight to go back home. I was not trying to clock back into my job. I was just like, what if I just stayed here and lived in Puerto Rico and just became Puerto Rican and just contributed to society? I was really planning on that. That's when I knew I really needed a break. That's when I knew. I don't think that a lot of people are taking PTO on a consecutive time. We'll take a Friday off, we'll take a Monday, Tuesday off, but we're not taking weeks off at a time. And that was the first time where I had almost 3 weeks off at a time. And I'm just like having a great time. So that is when I got back and I clocked into that job. And I had so much like animosity and anxiety of like, damn, I really wish I was in Puerto Rico. That is when I knew that I needed a break for sure. And I took it.
Listen, I can see that. That's a life, and it's like I think life will show you. Even sometimes your body will tell you when. And so once you realize that you need that lifestyle outside of your business, how do you allow yourself to have one? Because it's like I've been on this same habit, same patterns for forever. So how do I allow myself to go from this to doing this thing I know I need to do? And as an entrepreneur, what's the key to giving yourself enough grace to take a break?
Yeah, so starting with grace, grace is internal. So it's just like there's no rhyme or reason or like advice I can give you. You have to ask for grace and know that you deserve the grace and take it. It's honestly I don't want to say it's an insecurity, but it's a thing where people feel like if I do less, other people are going to notice and think less of me. And once you just start to remove yourself from that, that's what you're going to start to feel a lot better. Again, we're not AI. We are training the AI. We are the human beings. So it's just like we have to have that rest. We have to have that grace. We have to have that other thing that allows us to creatively recharge, mentally recharge, all of these things. So grace starts from within. The day that you decide that you want to give yourself grace, it's going to happen for you. And then when it comes to balance, you slowly do it. This is not something that's cold turkey. You don't tell your boss, oh, it's 5:01, so sorry, I'm clocking out. It's just not realistic. What you can do is start to train yourself and then start to train people around you about re-entering these boundaries that you're going to start to set, because you are going to start clocking out at 5 o'clock, but you have to train everyone around that. Hey, starting out like 4, hey, is there anything else that you need from me? Or hey, I'm going to wrap up these 2 things and we'll start on this tomorrow. We start communicating these things and start setting these boundaries so people are not overstepping. One thing that I do think is that boundaries have to be said. They're not known. These are not like common sense. Boundaries do need to be stated. So once you start slowly setting your boundaries in the workspace, then it's going to start to make sense for you. And then lastly, you have to give yourself the excuse. That's why I love having off work events, and they are specifically placed after the work hours. So these are things that starts at 6:30, 7 o'clock. No, I cannot stay late because I have another obligation, which is whatever it is. It can be a lie if you want it to, but it's the yoga classes you signed up to, or the hobby, spending time with your boyfriend, your family, just actually going home and doing nothing, which is totally fine as well. So start giving yourself an excuse or that hobby or that thing that you have to look forward to, that you can't stay late. So it's a slow, gradual thing, but it starts internally with the grace that you give yourself.
I love that talking about just doing nothing, because I think I seen on social media once someone was like, we need time to just diddly daddle or something like that. And I think that is so key. It's just like that is time for yourself too. So we talk about allowing ourselves to have that space to take a break. So what state does your business need to be in for someone to take that step back and not worry? Or does every task need to be completed? Or can some things just wait?
I don't think there needs to be a specific state in where your business needs to be to take a break. I think that's one thing that we need to do and unprogram ourselves, we don't work towards rest. You need rest to be productive. You need rest to be 100%. So I've let go of the goal of I need to complete 10 tasks a day, because I'm someone that used to complete 20 tasks and still didn't think that was enough. The average person is not completing 20 tasks a day. They're not. So working until I'm tired, or working until I feel, satisfied with the work that I do, is what I do now. So it's like, all right, I completed these few things. And even if it's not in the same sitting, I've done one or two or three things, go and take a 15-minute break. Go and make yourself a coffee, a tea, a hot girl walk. Go do a working lunch outside. Do something to break your time up. I don't believe in like, okay, I've done enough. Now it's time to take a break, or my business has made 10 grand this month. It's time to take a break. No, you should be breaking as often as you can so you can go longer. There are people, like, taking it as a running analogy. If you're running at a moderate pace, you're going to run longer than someone that is sprinting, because it's unsustainable to sprint for a very long time. So in your business, if you're sprinting, and you never take time to rest or even slow down, you're never going to be in that place, because you're going to be tired. So no, I just feel like you deserve rest at all times, and I'm pro rest.
I'm with that. And so when you are taking your breaks, how do you take your mind off of work?
It never really goes away. I'll be honest. This is not something I'm just like, oh, I do this and suddenly my job disappears. No, I'll be in the shower thinking of creative ideas, which is totally fine. I think that the less control that we have of our thoughts, the better that we feel. So it's kind of just like if you're meditating and you're supposed to be thoughtless, if you have a thought, you think the thought and you throw it away. So I'm in the shower, I have a creative idea. That's a great idea. Throw it away. I don't harp on it and try to rush my shower so I can go do my creative idea. No, it's just like, oh, that was a really good idea. Oh, that's going to eat. And I let it go. So when it comes to like having my mind off of work while I'm resting, I don't believe it's a thing, but I do try to occupy my mind with other things. So like a lot of my work breaks are coloring. I'm a colorer. Like that's my like in between type of thing. I don't have to have thoughts for that. It's thoughtless. It's something you have to have your thoughtless activity. So that is what helps me kind of just break up my thoughts between like working and rest, just doing something that doesn't require anything. So like coloring is one, skincare is another one that I like to do. I like to do a full 30-step skincare routine. It's thoughtless. So there's no need to think during that.
I love that because I was like, the skin is giving everything. It really is. I'm like, okay, can you give us a skincare routine? That'll be a question we need to put in the show notes, because it is giving all the things, and we can tell you put energy into it. So, all right. Now we talk about the things that you are doing, because I think a part of the thing that you're doing that's so important is that community aspect. And I want to talk about what role does finding community and getting involved play in maintaining that life outside of work, because you talk about the events and like having that thing to do next. So what role does community play in that?
I think community is a huge role in every facet of their life, and people don't really realize it. So, your first community is your family. You're born into these random groups of people that are taking care of you from birth to they never stop taking care of you. Like I'm 32 and my aunt is still like auntieing me. My mom still like babies me. Like it's never gonna stop. Also, I'm Haitian, so it's just like they're gonna be here forever. So it's important thing that you have from birth, and I think that sometimes we forget to nurture it, especially in our mid to late 20s, because I think a lot of the community that we have is community that has been forced upon us. So think about your family when you're born, and then you get into middle school, you get into high school. Generally you're with the same ish type of people from elementary school to high school. If you live in the same spot, you're always seeing these people. So these are like forced upon community. When you get out of college, now you're responsible for yourself and building your own community, and it's not necessarily the people that you went to school with. So that's where hobbies and interests and finding things outside of that. There's so many groups these days. You can go from running club to tennis club to doing nothing club to reading club, all of these things. So that's where you really, I think in your mid 20s to your late 20s is when you start to realize like who you really are. And then tap into that. These communities are everywhere. So it's like, it's up to you to build that. There's a lot of talk of like, oh, it's hard to make friends. It's hard to build community. Yes, it is, but it's also your responsibility to seek out the reading club, the knitting club, the coloring club that you want to join. Because a lot of these clubs are low cost or free to join. You just have to physically do it and do the work. So community is important to have, in all aspects, but it's also maybe your responsibility to get out there and go find it.
I agree. I agree. Gotta go put in that work. And so now I want to talk about the work that you are doing and some of the continued support. So I understand that Off Worque is an established community created to help those in a corporate setting find that support and then also take time for themselves. Can you tell us a little bit more about the services that you offer to provide for our listeners and some of the ways that they can get involved as well?
Yeah, so Off Work does a few things. Starting with life coaching, every month we have one of our board members, Bianca Hammett, who is a certified life coach, and we offer free life coaching once a month for all of our members. So they are virtual sessions, they're online, they're about an hour and change long, and you're able to get whatever you need from this seminar. We've done things from how to decenter your life to how to have more life time management to people pleasing and like how to say no. Like we have it all. So that is one of our offerings, one of my favorite offerings that we have within our club. We also have a weekly chat. It's going from Wednesdays to Fridays, but we have a vent about your job space where you're able to let it all out. Some people just have some things to say that they need to get off their chest, and it's not HR ready, it's not their boss ready, it's not their coworkers ready. So it's our group ready. So come and chat about that. We do that every Friday. We also have events that we do monthly. And then lastly, we have a out of office fund that we are building. We are working to raise $100,000 to help people that are founders, creatives, entrepreneurs, people that aren't able to take PTO because they either can't afford it or they just like don't have the space or capacity to do so. So we're going to be giving away micro grants for people to take a week off of work so they're able to recharge, reset, get their mind together, whatever it is that you need to do in that week. Again, doing nothing, which is totally okay. So that's what we've been doing in the past like year and change with Off Work.
That is so wonderful. I love that. Love that. That is true community building and true community support. And what about the services at work?
Yeah, so there is where my social media marketing skills come in. I've been in this space for about 10 years now. So I offer social media strategy and content direction. I think when it comes to Instagram, Facebook, all of these social media platforms, everyone has an algorithm. Nobody knows how to do it. But it's less about the algorithm and the message and more about the message and the branding that you're putting forward. So I'm helping brands fine tune like their overall marketing plan and put it through a social lens. I'm shooting content, I'm directing content, I'm helping post the content, write copy, all of that for bigger brands to smaller brands that just need that support. I'm also someone that works along the side the brand strategist to just create an overall tone and messaging that you'll see on like socials. You'll see it in website, you'll see it in email copy, you'll see it in SMS. So I'm just helping with the overall what the brand is saying and articulating what the brand has to offer. So if you're a hair care brand and you're speaking to people that have naturally curly hair, I'm helping you architect what that looks like to people online. So that is work versus off work.
Perfect. And where can people, because they're like, okay, she's giving us so much value. How can I work with her? So where can people find you, support, and then connect to work with you?
Absolutely. I'm a LinkedIn girly, so you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm someone that like responds to my DMs there a lot quicker. But if you're looking on web just to see like the kind of work that we've done before, for myself, it's at CristinaJerome.com. You'll be able to see all the things that are within work. And the same thing for Off Work. It's offwork.com. You're able to see everything there. So that's the best way to connect. Come to read the website, see what we have to offer. We have membership as well, so you can sign up for that for free and become a member. And you can always just shoot me an email. I love a good coffee chat, so feel free to do that.
Certainly. And Christina, my final question is, what does it mean to you to be Black in business?
What it means to be Black in business for me is it's just power. There's just so much power in being a Black person, a Black woman that I don't think we're tapping into completely. And I want to just encourage all Black women to really tap in what a voice looks like from a Black woman and how to monetize that. I think there's just so many things that just can't be recreated from Black culture that people try. They try to do it, but it's just not going to work. So tapping into your culture, your essence, who you are, your tone of voice, how you speak, what culturally makes sense is just so powerful for Black women. And we all need to put a price on it. So I'm excited to motivate you. And I'm excited to see how everyone just taps into that and, you know, make their financial goals and along with their cultural goals. Because again, nobody has it like us.
And that is a word. I agree. Christina, thank you so much for the work that you do and showing up for yourself, showing up for our audience today. And I just appreciate you so much for being a guest on the Black to Business podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, just thank you. I love to seeing everyone getting to the bag, and I hope you guys do too.
As we close out today's conversation, I hope you are feeling seen, supported, and also reminded that it is possible to build a business or even two without sacrificing your peace. Christina's stories and strategies made it really clear that success does not have to come at the cost of your well-being. You can be multi-passionate, you can be intentional, and also you can be rested all at the same time. It's about creating a structure that allows you to grow in alignment with who you are. So here are a few key takeaways from this conversation. One, you don't have to choose one path when you build systems that match your capacity. Two, rest is not a reward. It is a necessary part of long-term success. And three, delegating well helps you stay focused on what you only can do. For links to any resources mentioned in today's conversation and to learn more about Christina's work, head over to blacktobusiness.com/264. And if you know another entrepreneur who is juggling multiple ventures or struggling to create space for rest, share this episode with them. Our community grows stronger when we support each other. So thank you so much for tuning in and also for being a part of the Black to Business family. Your commitment to your growth and your purpose truly matters to us. Every step you take is a step forward for the culture. So keep building boldly and also keep pushing the culture forward. Later.